morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning and I'm getting an early start. We have some place to be this afternoon and I have a bunch of cucumbers that I have to turn into the last kind of pickles I want to make this year. And then I think I'm gonna pull the cucumber plants just to alleviate the stress of having to make more pickles. Actually, that's not right. I'm going to leave the plants and make one last batch of fermented pickles because we're almost done the last ferment that I made. So I wanna make sure that we have more fermented pickles going into the fall. But today I'm going to make cucumber sandwich pickles and I'm gonna put a spin on it. I'm actually going to add jalapenos, which I don't have. So I went to the farmer's market and bought one gentleman out of all of his jalapenos on Thursday. And so this morning I'm going to pop into Lindsay to see if I can't get more jalapeno and banana peppers to add some spice to these sandwich pickles. Now I'm not going to cut them into lengthwise strips. I'm actually going to put them through the food processor. So I'm going to cut them into rounds. And then I'm going to add them to a saltwater brine to draw the water out while I head into Lindsay, which is about a half an hour trip. So it's going to take me about an hour and a half round trip to go. So by the time I get back, the cucumbers will have sat long enough to draw the water out. Then I can make the brine and jar them up. I am loosely following the cucumber sandwich pickles recipe in the Ball Preservation book on page 303 if you're interested, but I am not going to follow the directions to the T. So I'm going to change it up a little bit just to save some time. So let's get the cucumbers washed and sliced. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of cucumbers and I feel like I have at least 6 here, so I'm going to triple the recipe. I'm adding 8 cups of water to half a cup of pickling salt, and I'm gonna add as many of these batches of water and salt, maybe probably just 2, enough to cover the cucumbers, and then I'm gonna put them in the fridge to soak. You can also let these sit out on the counter. I don't necessarily think, it's just as a cool place, so it's cool in here today. Now pour that over. I've got a very full bowl of my cucumbers soaking in saltwater brine. I'm going to put this in the fridge and then I'm gonna hit the road to the farmer's market. It opens at 7, so if I leave now, I'll get there right at 7, get what I need hopefully, and head home to finish the rest of the process. But first I actually have to go out and feed all my friends. Okay, I'm not the first one here, but let's get in and get out. Success. I got a basket of hot banana peppers, 3 baskets of jalapenos, and some apples, which is super exciting. I didn't bring enough of my reusable bags. We have apples on our trees at home, but not enough. So that'll be a nice breakfast on my way home. This is what I have to put up with in the morning if I don't take the dogs out for a walk. So try and make a video while this is going on. Good times. I know I'm getting close to the end of the canning season when I run out of jars. So I just went down to my storage area and realized that most of my boxes are empty. I have 2 flats of quart jars left, and mostly that would have been used maple syrup. So I'm gonna have enough to make maybe some tomato sauce, or instead of tomato sauce or like pasta sauce, I might actually just do stewed tomatoes, like canned diced tomatoes, because I use that in a lot of recipes, like when I cook a rabbit in the crock pot or chicken or whatever, that's what I use. Or if I make sauce, or if I make cabbage rolls or anything tomato based, that's what I'll use. So that's probably what I'll do with those jars. And so to make these pickles, I have to bust into my reserve, which is nuts. I try not to use these because I know that if I've got all my jars used, the shelves are almost full, and that is the case down in the pantry, which is awesome. So I'm gonna get these jars in the canner to start sterilizing. I just got back from the market, and so I've got some banana peppers and some jalapenos that I'm going to put through the food processor. And then I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup of each, 1/8 to a 1/4 cup of those to each jar with the cucumbers and the brine to add some spice to the pickle. So I'm gonna get going on that here right now. I don't know if I'm gonna need all of these jars. We'll see. Also, what I just realized is this recipe calls for brown sugar, and because I think I have to do a 3 times batch. I have enough of brown sugar for a 2 times batch, but I feel like it's gonna be a 3 times batch. So I'm gonna make some brown sugar here. The more I can and work with food preservation, the more I realize I need to be more organized. And it always seems that I decide last minute to do something and then I don't have the ingredients. So today, that ingredient is brown sugar. I think I might have enough, but not 100% sure. So if you're ever in the situation where you've run out of brown sugar and you don't want to run to the store, but you have white sugar and molasses, you can make your own. And that's what I do now. So I make a big batch of it and then I put it in like mason jars and put it in the pantry and then use them as needed. So it's a really quick way to make your own brown sugar, and I'm just gonna show you here quick how to do it. I've done a video on this all by itself, but in case you missed it, here it goes. In one of my last videos, I talked about not being prepared and stocking up on materials, and it just so happened that Peavey Mart had sugar on sale, 4 kg bags for an awesome deal. So I stocked up the other day. So what I'm going to do is just make this, it's probably 2 kilogram bag of sugar, and it's a lot. It's gonna make this thing, what is it called? The blender work for sure. Okay, so you add your sugar. It's gonna be challenge. Let's see if I can this. Okay, so you add your sugar, and I don't know why I have 100 boxes of molasses on the go, but I do. And then all you do, you just add molasses to the sugar. And turn this on low and try not to make a humongous mess. Too much, the mixer says. You can do it, mixer. And so if you want light brown sugar, obviously you don't add as much molasses, and if you want a darker brown sugar, you add more molasses. So I'm going for, I don't know, medium brown sugar. I just need to get a spatula here in a minute. Oh boy. So maybe don't put that much in. Pro tip. So yeah, like don't put that much sugar in, but that's how you do it. It's pretty awesome. It's a really quick way to make brown sugar if you don't have any. I find these mixers, although they're awesome, to be quite messy. Does anybody else have that experience? I feel like I overloaded this, I do know that. But I feel like it's always like kicking stuff out of the bowl. So anyways, there's your brown sugar. Pretty cool. Takes like 5 minutes if you don't make the massive mess like I did. So while we're waiting for my jars to sterilize, I'm going to get the brine boiling, and I'm then going to rinse all of the cucumbers in preparation for putting this all together. This is where I deviate from the recipe a little bit. I'm not going to pre-cook the cucumbers. I'm just going to cook them once in the brine once it has boiled. And so I'm going to add to the brine 6 cups of pickling vinegar and 3 cups of water. Now we're going to add 3 cups of lightly packed brown sugar, the same amount of white sugar, so 3 cups of white sugar. Beautiful. 1.5 teaspoons of celery seed. One and a half teaspoons of mustard seed. And 1.5 teaspoons of ground turmeric. hopefully this is enough. I'm actually gonna leave all this out just in case I have to make more brine, but I think we're good. Okay, so now we're going to bring this to a boil over medium heat, and we're going to boil it for 10 minutes. Then we're going to add our rinsed cucumbers. So let's get those rinsed. A couple of years ago, I bought this like colander that has these slidable things, and this is amazing for rinsing your vegetables after they've been in the brine. And one of the biggest things is just to make sure that you do this, you do a good job when you rinse your vegetables. So just make sure, like I'll do it 3 or 4 times. Not 3 or 4 times, but for 3 or 4 minutes, I'll make sure that water's run and I'll fold it over just to make sure they're completely rinsed. Honestly, no matter how big the bowl, I will always overfill. Always. Always, always, always. And now, I'll just give them a good rinse. When the timer goes off, I'm going to add my cucumbers to the brine and bring that up to a boil. In the meantime, I'm just gonna add to the bottom of each of these jars about a third, quarter to a cup or a third to a cup of the jalapenos and banana peppers. I've tried to mix them together so I get some of each. I'm gonna have way more than I'm gonna use. Overshot that one by a long shot. Good night. I have a real problem with volume and always making way more than I actually need. So I will, if this is enough jars for the cucumbers, then with those peppers, like I said, I'll put it in the salsa, but that is gonna be a hot salsa. Okay, this has been boiling for 10 minutes. Now I'm just going to add the cucumbers and bring it back up to a boil. I have to do this carefully to avoid the big splash. Okay, we'll just let that come back up to a boil. It actually looks like we have quite a bit of brine. So if we have leftover brine, I'm gonna pickle those peppers. Pint of pickled peppers? What is that nursery rhyme? That's fun. Pick a pint of pickled peppers. Might be able to do that today. Okay, we have reached a boil. So we're going to take that off the heat and pack our jars. Put my goggles on here. With just the cucumbers, and then we're gonna top up the syrup. And we're packing the jars to 1/2 inch headspace. It's going to Old Faithful here. I was able to fill 8 of the pints with the cucumbers, and then the rest, what I'm going to do is fill with the remaining peppers. But what I was thinking is once I filled the brine, once I've topped it up with the brine, these ones, I'm actually going to put the peppers in the brine to heat them up a little bit, just for food safety. Check all of them just to be sure. Good, good, good. I'm gonna return this to the stove, and I'm gonna add all of the leftover peppers and bring that up to a boil. Now to each of these jars, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of pickle crisp. I just started using this year, so I don't have any reports back on how it works, but we're doing it. I feel like this is gonna be like a version of cowboy candy. So we'll bring that to a boil. It's just enough, which this might work out perfectly. Never done this before, so always learning. Wipe the lids of these. Those are in the canner and they are going to process for 10 minutes. Because I've never really done this before with leftovers, but I'm just gonna process these peppers like I would if I were making candied jalapenos or cowboy candy. So I'm going to bring it to a rolling boil. So boiling so much that I can't stir it away. And then I'm going to simmer for 4 minutes, take it off the heat, and jar it up just like I did the cowboy candy. See how it tastes. Should be good.
This is not gonna taste exactly like Cowboy Candy because Cowboy Candy has way more sugar. Way more sugar. So this will be more like pickled peppers than Cowboy Candy. For all the new things that I made this year, I'm gonna make a video and taste everything and give you a full report. Oh, the spice like is getting in my nose. Whew. Yeah. All right. So I'm going same as the pickles. I'm gonna go to a 1/2 inch headspace. In the recipe, it says a generous 1/2 inch headspace. So that means at least a 1/2 inch headspace. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Okay. And then we're gonna top it up with brine. And I think I'm even gonna add pickle crisp. Why not? I don't know. Oh my gosh, that is like, don't breathe in that liquid. Oh my gosh. You want to clear your sinuses. This is the way to do it. Oh my heavens. Bubble. I'm just gonna add the pickle crisp now, and then I'm gonna top up to 1/2 inch headspace and put the lids on. That's it. Now I just have to wait for the pickles to come out of the canner and put in the peppers. Okay, 10 minutes is up. We're gonna get these babies out of the canner. Okay, we're just gonna cover those and let them cool for 24 hours. Then we'll take the rings off, clean, make sure we've got a seal, clean the lids, label them, and put them down on the pantry. I hope you all have an awesome day and that you're having a good canning season. If you've never canned anything before, don't be afraid to try something new. If you don't have the equipment, borrow some from someone who's got it. If you know me, you can come and get mine and borrow mine. It's really rewarding to be able to eat food that you've made yourself. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.